President Biden and former President Donald Trump made a lot of claims tonight, and we're going to fact check them.
We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We have never done so well. Everybody was amazed by it. Other countries were copying it.
Major?
Thank you, Nora. The CBS Confirmed team has 3 fact checks for you out of the box. Let's go to our first one. President Trump said we have the greatest economy in the history of our country. Now, of course, the economy is a perception as much as a statistical reality, but there are statistics. And the statistics show, based on gross domestic product, unemployment, and stock market gains, there are other times in American history where the economy was far better than during the 4 years of the Trump administration. On 2 of those metrics, gross domestic product and unemployment, even the Biden administration record is better than the Trump record, even before the pandemic set in.
He had talked about, we had the greatest economy in the history of the country. Can you dig a little deeper into the truth in terms of how how the U.S. economy compares between the two?
Sure. Good morning, Anne Marie. Former President Trump is a great marketer, and that was one of his most repeated slogans, that the U.S. economy was the greatest that it's ever been under his administration. And that's simply not true. Now, economics comes to you in the way you feel, the way you interact with it, but there's also statistics that can help clarify what is or isn't the best economy in American history. And when you talk about gross domestic product or unemployment, on those 2 measurements alone, President Biden's record outdoes President Trump's, even pre-pandemic economic performance under the Trump administration. Stock market growth was better in Clinton years and Obama years than during the Trump administration years. Was it a good economy? Were people generally satisfied with it? That's true. But was it the greatest ever on those 3 matrices? No, it wasn't, not even close. One point of contrast for the former president, which came up a lot last night, is inflation and interest rates. And those bedevil consumers now more than during the Trump administration. But the greatest economy ever? By no stretch of the imagination is that true.
All right.
What I've done since I've changed the law, what's happened, I've changed it in a way that now you're in a situation where there are 40% fewer people coming across the border illegally. It's better than when he left office.
Let's go to fact check number 2. This is something that President Biden said, talking about immigration, about a recent change he made about those crossing the border, saying that 40% fewer people are coming across the border illegally. It's better than when he left office. We rate that as partially true because of something that President Biden has recently done. Those border crossings are down, and they are down by about 40%. Of course, before that, the numbers were higher. They compare somewhat favorably to those during the Trump administration. That's why we rate this as partially true. Another very important point that came up in the debate was a comment from President Trump about partial birth abortion, or abortions late in term, 8th, 9th month, even afterwards. Former President Trump said, quoting former Virginia Governor Ralph Northam, that there could be killings of babies even after birth. We rate this as false. Governor Northam was talking about a hypothetical situation where a baby was not going to live outside the womb. And this is called infanticide. Everyone knows that. It's not legal in any state. No state is debating making it legal. That's why we rate this claim, asserted by President Trump during this debate, as false.
All right, Major, help us cut through the noise on immigration. I know, the former or President Biden just implemented new policies that are having an impact right now. But can you talk to us a little bit about what's happening at the border and how it compares between the two administrations?
Sure. So we rate that with the CBS News confirmed team as partially true, and here's why. Yes, President Biden took executive action recently that changed policies on interdicting those seeking to cross the border. And there has for 1 month been a 40% reduction from the totals before that executive action was taken. That part of it is true. But of course, the numbers of border crossings were much, much higher before those executive actions. And the numbers during the Trump administration were comparatively lower because there were stricter border policies under the Trump administration. That's why we rate that assertion by President Biden as partially true.
Radical, because they will take the life of a child in the 8th month, the 9th month, and even after birth. After birth, if you look at the former governor of Virginia, he was willing to do this. He said, we'll put the baby aside and we'll determine what we do with the baby, meaning we'll kill the baby.
Another very important point that came up in the debate was a comment from President Trump about partial birth abortion, or abortions late in term, 8th, 9th month, even afterwards. Former President Trump said, quoting former Virginia Governor Ralph Northam, that there could be killings of babies even after birth. We rate this as false. Governor Northam was talking about a hypothetical situation where a baby was not going to live outside the womb. And this is called infanticide. Everyone knows that. It's not legal in any state. No state is debating making it legal. That's why we rate this claim, asserted by President Trump during this debate, as false.
Because of his ridiculous, insane, and very stupid policies, people are coming in and they're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen. We call it migrant crime. I call it Biden migrant crime. They're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen before.
First, something that former President Trump said. People are coming in and killing our citizens at a level like we've never seen before. The CBS News confirmed team rates this as misleading, not because there have not been crimes alleged to have been committed by undocumented immigrants in our country. That has happened. And for the victims of those crimes and their families, those are not statistics, those are real events. Tragic, And we're not saying it's misleading because those facts don't exist. We're saying it's misleading because the former president suggested that this is happening at a rate never before seen. And all the available statistical evidence shows that undocumented immigrants do not commit crimes at a higher rate than native-born Americans. Also, government statistics routinely show that those seeking to enter the country do not have criminal records from the country which they have left in many, many cases. That's why the CBS News Confirmed team rates this statement as misleading.
But the biggest thing I'll do if we defeat this man, because he wants to get rid of Social Security. He thinks there's plenty to cut in Social Security. He's wanting to cut Social Security and Medicare, both times.
Let's go to fact check number 2. Something that President Biden said about former President Trump. Wants to get rid of Social Security. Wants to cut Social Security and Medicare, jeopardizing that. We rate that, the CBS News Confirmed team, as false. Former President Trump has said over and over again that he doesn't want to touch Social Security or Medicare. He made some references to some cuts within Social Security in one CNBC interview, but a spokesman for the campaign later came back and said that was not about benefits, that was not about anything structural within Social Security, only waste and fraud and abuse. That's where the Trump campaign is. That's why the Confirmed team rates that assertion from President Biden as false.